welcome to another episode of my podcast, Cows in a Pod, where I get to speak with intriguing people in the way they choose to live their lives. Cows itself stands for Choices of Wisdom Seekers, and today's guest is someone who I've been trying to, interview for a while now. I've been following her work, and her first video, which I happened to watch on YouTube, just moved me to tears. So I'm so privileged and honored to have you, Bharati, in my podcast today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to give you a quick introduction to the viewers about yourself. So Bharati is, what can I say? She has so many facets to her personality. She is a sex educator, a psychologist, handwriting analyst, a career counselor, a real change maker who is changing the way things are viewed in India, and we'll talk about what it is in a moment. And somebody who is really making waves and changing society by the choices that she makes on a day-to-day basis. She's the founder of the Kavach movement, which we're going to talk about largely today, which is an umbrella of menstrual health and safe motherhood that is supporting women and girls in underprivileged communities. Now, this is just a very high-level description of what Kavach does and the things that Bharati does, but I'm so excited that we're going to know a lot more about everything that you do, Bharati. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm really so excited, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about Kavach. And of course, I'm blessed today so that I can talk about my work, so the whole world can join my movement.
Yes, and that's what I envision too, because it's such a beautiful venture that you are doing. So Bharati, when I was watching YouTube one day, I saw your video and you talked about the moment that changed your life. And I'm going to start with your story and how that moment sort of brought you to where you are today. So please tell us about your story and that moment, which I'm sure everyone will be moved to tears.
Yes, thank you so much. And yes, a little bit about myself. So I've been into sexuality education since the past 15 years. So it was till 2017, I was very comfortable and happy and living in a kind of a bubble where I was doing the sexuality education workshops all across India, talking about menstrual hygiene, menstrual poverty, adolescent issues, and prevention of child abuse. And but this one incident changed my life 360 degrees. Like I don't think I am what I was a few years back. So I was doing these workshops in Mumbai at that time in 2017, and I was a friend of mine who was in the similar field called me and told me that you do so many free workshops. There is one very underprivileged school in a very densely populated slum area of Mumbai. Would you like to go there and do the workshop? But they won't pay you much. I said, it's okay. I mean, I'm here on a mission, right?
Yeah.
So she said, okay. So I took the date and I went and met the principal. And in Mumbai, we have these government municipal schools, which, they have a cluster of buildings, and they have various mediums in that school, like English medium, Gujarati medium, Marathi medium, Hindi medium, in the few buildings. So I went and met this principal, and we were discussing about the dates. It's very difficult to get the dates to do such kind of programs, specifically sexuality education programs. Either they dilly-dally or they are not very comfortable doing it. But I was very determined, and I said, and it is the need of the hour. Everybody wants to do it, but who will do it? So I said, okay, I'm going to do it for you. And we were discussing the dates, and here walks in a 9th standard girl, and she tells the principal in Hindi that, I'm going home. मैं घर जा रही हूँ, अभी 4 दिन स्कूल नहीं आऊंगी. That means I'm going home and I will not be coming for 4 days to school. So even I was listening to the conversation, we were all sitting for the meeting, and the principal said that the school has just begun. Why do you want to go home? So she just very sternly said, I'm on my periods. So the principal says, it's okay. I suppose you don't have a sanitary napkin. I am busy right now. Why don't you go to the classroom and ask your teacher to give you a sanitary napkin?
Yeah.
The next thing what she said was sent a chill down my spine. I still get goosebumps thinking about it.
I'm getting it now. Yeah.
She just turns around and says, Madam, सवाल sanitary napkin का नहीं है, मेरे पास underwear ही नहीं है. Means, madam, it's not a question of an sanitary napkin. I don't have an underwear. And I just couldn't believe it, because 10 years before that, I was explaining to the girls, I have a PPT where, I explain to the girls that, you should wear cotton underwears, you should change twice a day. And why didn't it ever strike me that these girls will not have an underwear? It is so unusual. Because let's understand, this is one piece of cloth which is put on us when we are born. Till the end, till we die, we have this piece of cloth on our body. And here this girl is saying she doesn't have one. And being a counselor and a psychologist, my first reaction was, she's lying. And I said, she must be wanting to bunk class. She wants to miss her class. She wants to go home. She wants to go with her boyfriend. Teenage girls are allowed everything according to me. They are teenagers. They will behave just like them. So I was so shaken up. So, and because the principal reprimanded her, she went back to the class. And I just froze. I just asked the principal, can I speak to this girl? I would like to speak to her. So she said, yes, why don't you speak to her? So I left the meeting and I followed the girl to the classroom. And all the girls gathered. You know how it is, somebody new comes into the classroom, all the girls gathered. And I asked this girl, I said, you know something? Why did you lie? Why couldn't you say something, give another kind of an excuse? Why did you say that you don't have an underwear? She just turns around and tells me, ma'am, why should I lie to you? We are 4 women in the family and we have 2 underwears and we share our underwears. And Ramya, can you believe, have you heard of anybody sharing an underwear? See, as girls, as mother-child, mother-daughter, friends, sisters, we will share an outfit, or we may eat in the same plate, or we may share our accessories, or whatever. We will share everything under the sun but an underwear, because it is too personal and too private. And here, they're sharing. Another girl tells me that, ma'am, it's a matter of 4 days. I wear my father's underwear. And it again shook me. I said, your father has an underwear and you don't have? I didn't ask her that, but I just couldn't react. Another girl, she was a little short. She's telling, ma'am, I wear my younger brother's underwear and I don't come to school for 4 days. And that hit me. See, I am so old now. I've got adult children. My eldest son is 26 years old. I'm 52. I still study. Every year I take a certificate program. So recently, around my birthday, I learned Canva. I'm technologically handicapped, but I want to learn. And I was calculating that 4 days in a month into 12, 48 days, the girl doesn't come to school. She misses her exam, she misses her test or whatever, and then she drops out of school. Can an underwear be a reason to drop out from school? Right to education, every girl must have, right? And here was this girl who was saying, I don't come to school, and it was not acceptable to me. For me, education, if you want to empower women, the only way I see how to empower women is to educate them. And here is a girl who's going to stop going to school, and that's not fair. And I came back. I didn't want to hear any more stories. I came back to the office. I forgot why I had gone to the school. I was in a complete state of shock. I just stood. I asked the principal, ma'am, how many girls do you have in your school? So as I mentioned earlier, this cluster of buildings and the school, the mediums. So she told me around 800 to 900 girls we have. I just bluntly told her, ma'am, I'm going to give these girls 800. I'm going to give all your girls underwears. And I just walked out. And I was driving and I parked my car. I just realized that it's so unprofessional. What have I done? I called up the ma'am. I said, I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have left the meeting, but I promise I'll come back and do the workshops. Give me a few days. I came back home and for days I did not sleep. I just couldn't digest the fact that the girls of my country don't have a basic feminine hygiene need called an underwear. I mean, what the hell am I doing? What is the point of me doing these workshops on, sexuality education, talking about blah, blah, blah. And here I'm not addressing the basic issue. And I posted this story on Facebook and I told my friends that please give me 100 rupees. I want to give these girls four underwears. And oh my God, I got hate mails, I got hate phones, I got every damn thing from my friends. Like, what nonsense are you talking? It's a big lie. I said, yes. I would have also reacted the same way you have reacted because I wouldn't believe you. Okay. But I was there on that day when this incident happened. So it means a lot. So I understand it is a fact. Anyway, when I calculated, when I went to my nearby retail stores and I found out that there was, unfortunately, there was no underwear below 36 rupees. Okay. And 36 rupees into 4 is not 100. I said, where do I get my money? And then I called up a trustee of a school who had, helped me. I had done workshops in their school from nursery to 10th. I started Good Touch and Bad Touch program, Safe and Unsafe Touch, for 3 years old. And the trustee used to have a lingerie material making factory. So when I called him up, I said, sir, I need your help. Put me to somebody who manufactures the underwears or gives me at wholesale price. So he said that, my factory was gutted, but my son is looking after it. I will give you the number. So he sent me the number. Once I got the number, I called up Mr. Mulchandani and I asked him, I told him the story. So he said, why don't you come? I'll give you a call in 10 minutes. He didn't call back. After 2 hours, he sent me a number of a tailor from Dharavi. Dharavi is the biggest slum in Asia. And I called him back. I said, why haven't you sent me a master tailor's number? So he said, he's going to stitch you one underwear for 17 rupees. I said, great, but who's going to give me the material? So he said, you come to my factory. I went to his factory. He was so touched by my story. He gave me 40 kilos of material free. I came back home. I called up the master tailor. The master tailor said that, do you have a trust? And luckily, I had just created this charitable trust a year back. So I said, yes, I am. Saying, please get your trust deed. And I was like, okay. So I called up my husband, Kumar, and he's a lawyer. I told him, where is the trust deed? So he said, who wants it? So I said that my tailor. He said, are you mad? Why does your tailor want a trust deed? I said, no. I want to take it because somebody's asked for it for the first time. I would like to take it. He said, okay, take it. I took a friend of mine. We drove to Dharavi, and believe me, it is like a maze. I think even if there's a fire, even my bone wouldn't be found. It's that bad, Yeah. I went there and I sat in his cabin, and it was a nice small unit where they were manufacturing, outsourcing underwears. And I told him my story, and I gave him my trust deed. He folded his hand and he's telling me, I'm so sorry, he's telling me in Hindi, bahut sorry, galti ho gaya. I said, why? It's okay. You asked for it. I gave it to you. So he said, no, there are many women who come here. They tell me that, they run an NGO and they get underwear stitched from me at a very, very low price, and they go and sell it. So I said, listen, I have no intentions of selling underwears. I don't want to sell underwears, but this is what I want to do. You won't believe he gave me 100 branded underwears with tears in his eyes. He's saying, ma'am, I am staying in this area. You're going to give underwears to my girls. And I never realized that they don't have underwears. So
that, my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when I came back home, I said, wow, I think why not, if the girls in Mumbai slums don't have underwears, think about the rural and the tribal girls, I said, why not make this a movement? So I named it Kavach. I gave it a name, Kavach movement, protection against social stigma. But I realized that the need to give an underwear is mine. I just can't say, okay, take this underwear. You don't have an underwear, take it. No. I said, let me make a Kavach kit. So I made a Kavach kit with 4 underwears, 4 packets of sanitary napkin. I put a khadi towel inside, a very expensive one, and a soap and a bathing soap and a washing soap, and that's how my Kavach kit got ready. But the idea behind giving the Kavach kit, the khadi towel, was that if the girls are sharing underwears, the whole family in the slums will be sharing one towel.
Exactly.
And secondly, my mother-in-law was a Gandhian. She was with Mani Bhavan for 50 years. She always wore khadi. She was the one who welcomed Martin Luther King one. She played host to him. Martin Luther King too took her appointment and met her. And Obama's first visit, he had met her. Wanted to know who was the lady who played host to Martin Luther King, and she came from a very elaborate music family, like you're interested in. So my husband's Nana was lived in Shanti Niketan for 7 years with Rabindranath Tagore, and he was a doctorate in Rabindra Sangeet.
Oh wow.
Doordarshan started with his voice.
Oh.
And he was a complete Krishna Bhakt, and his seva I have with me. And my Mamaji's son started the band called Silk Route, Duba Duba Rehta Hu, with Mohit Chauhan. So that's my brother-in-law.
Cheers to that. What a fantastic story of connections, Bharati. This is just amazing. Like, for those listening, I'm sure some of you will relate to Silk Route, right? Like, it's one of those things, like pop culture just sealed in the 90s.
And my grandfather in Panchkani, I'm speaking to you right now from Panchkani. So he came as a cook to Gandhiji. And
wow.
So he was a cook, then he started his own hotels, and now we have got hotels and restaurants in Panchkani. And so I started my Kavach, coming back to my Kavach kit. So I decided to put a khadi towel, where I said, why not make in India and made in India, make in India. So a lot of people said that you're mad. Don't give them a kit, or they will sell the kit, they will sell the khadi towels. So I said, good. If somebody whoever's going to buy it, bikegi to khadi bikegi, and whoever will buy the khadi, somebody's going to use it. So I don't mind that. And then I started I made the Kavach kit. I distributed those Kavach kit to 800 Kavach kits to the girls. And I do not distribute my Kavach kits without an education program. Right. I talk about menstrual hygiene. I talk about adolescent issues. I talk about prevention of child abuse. And the advantage, the best part is, I believe that, this is a kind of awareness which I'm creating. I believe that don't give a man a fish. Teach him how to fish. So teach him how to fish is very important. But this is a way of creating awareness. And the next, I'm sure your audience are asking, do you really think Bombay, the girls don't have an underwear? Well, I've done my research well. So, in India, we have a lot of support system in the help of maids, drivers, house help, everything, But and during festivals, during weddings, birthdays, we do not give our house help or anything. We don't give them underwears as gifts. We give them a dress, we'll give them a sari, we'll give them mithai, sweets.
Because we don't even think about it. We take it for granted. Yes. Right?
Have you ever heard anybody giving an underwear as gifts? No. Do we give used underwears? No. But we take it for granted that they will be having. Secondly, young girls going to school or college, they would, who come from the underprivileged, so-called socio-economic lower strata of the society, they would rather wear, who doesn't like to look beautiful? They would rather wear 100 rupee t-shirt or a top or a dress rather than wear an underwear which is not seen. So it is all about priority, and it is about awareness, not realizing that there is so much of, consensual sex happening at a very early age nowadays in school, or for that matter, the people around you who stays in the slums, they know that you're not wearing an underwear. There's a lot of molestation, rape happening. So why should it happen just because of, you're deprived of a small piece of cloth which is called an underwear? So I distributed those 800 kits. Seeing my work, the Municipal Corporation of Mumbai gave me permission for 1100 schools in Mumbai, and to distribute the Kavach kits. I did a lot of work in interior Maharashtra as well as the Adivasi and the tribal areas.
Yeah.
Till date, I have single-handedly distributed 35,000 Kavach kits.
Wow, Bharati, amazing. That's just
And
so
it's been a beautiful journey, and the impact is so amazing. I've had so many brilliant cases. There are some stories which, sometime I will share with you. Like, I remember one case where this girl who held her kit for the whole night and she didn't sleep. She's saying, this is my soap, this is my towel, and this is my underwear.
Look at
Can
that.
you feel this? And we have abundance. Like, when I came to know that these girls don't have underwears, my first reaction was that any given time in my cupboard, in my drawer, for every person in the family, we have bought at least minimum 6 branded underwears just lying in our cupboard. And here are these girls who don't even have a single underwear. I mean, is this what is called
What kind of society are we living in? How can we be
Exactly.
in our bubbles, unaware? And like you said, it's all about awareness, right? If we're not
Yes.
keeping ourselves informed, like what are we here for, right? I
But
wonder.
the thing is, even when you go to the slums, the next question I'm sure that everybody's mind is that, that in the slums, even in Mumbai, for example, that, they have a TV, they have a mobile, everybody has a mobile to do. And how is that that they don't have an underwear? So, well, in a slum, there is a 10 by 10, square feet room which they are staying. There are 6 members to 7 members. There are 4-5 children in the family. The father is a daily wage earner. He would rather treat his child with a Indian burger or a pizza or something like that rather than buy an underwear for all of them, because he cannot afford it. And it is again coming down to priority and about awareness. And this is what we need to do. Is I always say that let's all take a pledge today that no girl or women in our country should be deprived of basic feminine hygiene need called an underwear. I remember when Padman came, like Jain College in Mumbai had put me on their cover page saying Pad Woman of Mumbai. And I said, no, I'm not the pad woman. I want to be, where will you put a pad without an underwear?
I know.
So, so I think pad is not important. It's what is important is the underwear.
Yeah.
Now in the COVID, so this is about my journey, about my Kavach, a movement. In COVID, I started a movement called Kavach Janani.
Oh yeah,
I came
wanted to
across.
ask you about that. Yeah. Tell us about that, please. Yeah.
So Kavach Janani was when I was, during the COVID, there were no supplies of sanitary napkins, no supply of adult diapers. So I kept getting calls from friends, from families. Please, can you give us pads? And well, I did have, but then there were no transportation, coming in. So when I was distributing the pads in adult diapers, there was a request for adult diapers because we didn't know what was happening during the COVID, what
Right.
were the symptoms.
Right.
Somebody were getting loose motions, somebody was getting
Right.
various kinds of other systems. So I got 10,000 adult diapers and 20,000 packets of sanitary napkin. I was distributing in the municipal hospitals, in the isolation centers.
Yeah.
During COVID, I was personally going there, and I was getting like, "Don't go." I said, "No, I'm going." And
When there
during
is
the
a will,
visit,
there is a way, right? Yeah. Yeah.
and when I went to one of the municipal hospitals, the dean was a very dear friend. He's saying, "Bharati, can you give us a Kavach kit?" So I said, "No, the Kavach kit is for the girls."
Yeah.
Saying, "No, they at that time, to 2020, in June, there were 300 pregnant women, all COVID positive, who had come to deliver. And they were, instead of 2 days, they had to stay in the hospital for 14 days. And there was no help, no mother-in-law, no mother, no husband by themselves, because they had to be isolated. And they didn't have a gown to wear. They didn't have a pad. They didn't have an underwear. So the dean said, "Can you help?" And I had tears running down my eyes. I said, "Oh my God, I'm a mother. I know what it is to deliver alone." I mean, can you imagine just being there with no support? Especially your husband or your mother-in-law, your mother is not around you. And there are no nurses and no doctors because of the COVID. And I said, give me 1 week. I'll just do something about it. And as usual, I sit down in front of my Radha Rani and I tell her, now come on, do something. Let's do something. And there I was. I said, why not get? I got two. I made a Kavach Janani kit with 2 feeding gowns, 4 adult size underwears. I got them stitched on a very war footing, and I designed reusable sanitary napkins.
Wow.
And these sanitary napkins are amazing because as it is, I want to, it takes 400 years for one sanitary napkin to decompose in Mother Earth, in the earth pit. What are we doing to our environment, Mother, what am I doing? So, I mean, what is my contribution? Let me create these reusable sanitary napkins, which we can, give these rural and Adivasi ladies and the rural area. So I made a Kavach Janani kit with 2 feeding gowns, 4 underwears, 4 reusable sanitary napkins, towels, soap, protein powder, baby food, not baby food, for the food for the mother, baby clothes, a small mosquito net, and I distributed those to the hospital. And I got permission from the municipal hospital for 28 municipal hospitals to distribute my Kavach Janani kits. I'm working with 28 Adivasi, that is the rural villages, 4 schools I worked with, 2 colleges and 1 hospital, and there I have distributed thousands of Kavach Janani kits, and that had really helped the mothers during COVID. Then I started Kavach Edu. I was already working with Kavach Edu. Now and during the COVID, I worked with 7,500 transgenders. We gave them ration, and they had no food in India. Transgenders are all, they're not inclusive.
Yeah.
So nobody gives them a job, right? So what happened during the COVID was there was a complete lockdown. So the transgenders, they earn their livelihood by begging in the trains, at tourist spots, weddings, or any child is born. So all that was shut. There was complete lockdown. I got calls from these transgenders who were saying that I got to know they were committing suicide because they didn't even have even 20 rupees to have a vada pav. That is the Indian burger. They didn't have money. And they were in such horrible state. They didn't have one meal, not even forget 1 square meal. 1 meal they didn't have. So then we started raising funds, and I started giving them 20 kilos of ration each. And then I distributed ration to slum dwellers, and to people working in the crematorium. Nobody thought of people who are working in the crematorium, burning bodies.
This is the most amazing thing. Like, I'm just thinking as you're talking, right? These are like sections of society we don't really think about. Right? Like we don't think about it on a daily basis. We think about education, we think about all these things, but these are the people who actually they drive our society in such an undercurrent, right? We don't see it. So the fact that you're thinking about these people, including them, trying to see how you can change the way they think, itself is it's incredible from a listener's point of view, right? Because I do interview a lot of people. We talk about education, we talk about women's rights, which is a huge thing in especially in the West. Everyone's talking about women's rights, feminism, which is all great. But I think what you're doing is something so powerful and so niche that these are people who really deserve our attention too, right? We don't really think about them or talk about them. So that's just kudos to you. So in terms of having all these, I would say you're such a leader with such a unique thought process, right? That's my sense when I talk to you. I'm sure there are a lot of taboos because I grew up in India. I was there till I was 21, and when I moved to the States, but I've grown up in such a ingrained in society with so many taboos, right? We don't talk about menstruation being, now of course it's being talked about, but transgenders, we don't talk about them at all. In fact, we're always turned we kind of look away. We're scared. As children, we're kind of raised to be scared of them. So how, like, and you mentioned that you get a lot of, messages of hate messages and other things. So how do you navigate through that? Like, I'm sure you make a choice to ignore it and then kind of just powerful and like, you just spearhead your way through it.
I've been very lucky about that. But yes, when I started this movement, I not only was ridiculed, insulted, isolated, even by family and people around me, that what the hell are you doing? Just stop it. You're embarrassing us. And I was like, really?
Wow.
And I never bothered. But I knew that especially when I went to rescue homes, and I was doing the workshops for rescue girls who were rescued from the brothels. I work with a lot of sex workers and HIV positive people also. So I've been doing that since those years, but it never came in the forefront till Kavach happened.
Yeah, because it's not spoken about, right? It's like a taboo.
Right.
And
during the lockdown, it was even more obvious that I was helping them, because nobody, even the sex workers and the HIV positive people, they were completely neglected, because we normal people, like, the normal society had a great setback because of the COVID. So where would we go and who would go and help them? There was no way for them to even get any kind of business or anything for that matter. But they are a part of our society, right? We can't just cut off one arm and say that, no, you don't belong to us. You can't. You have to make them inclusive, and all said and then they're human at the end of the day, no?
Yeah, exactly. So I think being human is the most fundamental, right? It's
Absolutely.
like human connection.
And if you're not empathetic, you're not going to do something for them and just turn away and just neglect them. Are you really doing your job well?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Bharati, I get a lot of women, especially, I live in Silicon Valley, so, everyone is running race, like we're running the race, and like, especially in the tech world. And a lot of the people, they don't really want to work there but they work there because they feel like they don't know what else to do. I get that a lot. Okay. I want to quit. I don't want to quit though, because I don't know what else to do. But the things that you're talking about, there's so much to do. Like there's so many things to do in you're talking about one city, Mumbai in India, right? Within Mumbai, there's so many things, so many angles, right? You can look at it and actually help in service and other things. So
I'll tell you one thing, that what I am doing is just the tip of the iceberg. Just the tip. I'm doing nothing great. Honestly, there's so much to do, and that's what I would like to appeal. Please join the movement.
Yeah.
Even if you can't join the movement, in your own way, help our own species. What are we doing?
Yeah.
And only thing is, we've grown up with a lot of orthodox mindset.
Exactly.
Talking about, we have to break the ceiling. We have to think. See, I always say, you have to think out of the box. Why think out of the box? Think there is no box only.
There's no box. Yeah.
There is no box.
I love it.
And secondly, I'll tell you about my little bit of my journey. I've been into spirituality since I was 13 years old. I used to travel to the Himalayas every year for 1.5 months till I got married. And there was a time I didn't want to get married. So, but then I realized, no, I think this doing your sansar and parmarth is the best thing.
Yeah.
So I got married. I'm very happy. I've got 2 beautiful sons. Both of my sons are in Canada. Okay. The elder one is Nimai. He's 26. My younger one is 21. He's studying in University of Waterloo. My husband is a lawyer. And without their support, believe me, I wouldn't be what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Secondly, I have a lot of IB school children and other school children. I do workshop for boys also, but I'm not highlighting that. And I make sure that the boys talk about menstrual hygiene, they talk about sexuality education, and they pack my Kavach kits. I make all the boys pack my Kavach kits.
That is just fantastic. That requires an applause by itself. That requires an applause by itself. That's fantastic. Yeah.
So I always believe that, I wanted to become a yogi. I wanted to become a sannyasi. So now I believe that मैं yogi तो नहीं बन पाई, समाज को उपयोगी जरूर बनूंगी.
Exactly.
And I also run an NGO in Vrindavan, where we are serving food to the senior citizens and devotees who come there. I run my Kavach movement there.
How
And-
many are you like do you have 10 hands and 10 This is just I'm
And
still
now
trying
I
to
just
gather
launched-
what you do. It's just incredible.
And the other thing, I just before coming to Panchgani, I'm here for a holiday for 1.5 months, where I'm doing my projects from here also. And in Mumbai, there is one school which is a school for physically handicapped children. They've got 70% children are with cerebral palsy, and they have requested me to give them midday meal. So from June 15th, I will be providing 70 children midday meal. I've adopted another school with children with hearing disability, and there are more than 100 kids. So around 200 kids, I'm starting Bal Bhoj, Kavach Bal Bhoj for these children, where I will be providing them with nutritious, hygienic meals per day.
Fantastic. So my mom is, incidentally, she's a special educator. She's worked with special kids for 35 years. She actually got the President Award as well from Abdul Kalam ji. So I have grown up going to Spastic Society of Karnataka in Bangalore. Just watching her work day in and day out with these kids. She continues to work with them. So what you just said, it definitely touched something in me, because
That's so amazing.
Yeah. So that's just so for Kavach movement. How does one get involved? Now, somebody like me, okay, we're sitting here so far away. Like, one thing is we can obviously donate, and
Yes.
and is there something else, like say somebody who's watching saying, hey, you know what, this thing moved me. How do I start something like this? Can I get in touch with Bharati? And can we send kids from here, or tell us more about what we can do?
Yes, donation is the one thing which we are always in need of. Secondly, sending recently a friend who's supporting me from US, she just called me up and she said, okay, your baby clothes, we will put it into our baby clothes into the Kavach Janani kit. I'm sending one whole cargo. I said, no, don't do that. Don't do that. So somebody, the one company had sent me around 10,000 underwears, and I didn't know what to do with them, because they were size 0 to XL, and that doesn't fit in my kit. There was one, somebody started some multinational started a campaign for me for sanitary napkins, and you won't believe, they sent me 6,000 packets of sanitary napkin, but all of different companies, some from the roadside, some from China, some from US, so branded ones, some from Whisper, Stay Free, whatever the brand. And I was like, oh no, this is not what I want, because when my girls open the kit, I don't want them to say, oh, you got a Victoria underwear, and I have got the roadside one, you have got a better branded one. No, I want uniformity in my kits.
So what you're trying to say is the uniformity comes from one source, which is already selected, which is where you figured that out. You figured out the source, right? You figured out
Yes.
So you don't want a physical thing. You don't want underwear. You don't want a napkin.
You also pay the vendor. You can pay my vendor. I will give you the details for my vendor.
The donation goes to the vendor as opposed to sending physical, because typically here there are a lot of drives, right? Everybody has plenty of things. So a lot of drives that happen. We send kids to Israel. We can send kids to now Ukraine. So, but what you're saying is that's not what you want. I think you have a set standard, because all the girls have to get the same.
Right.
Which makes a lot of sense. So it's more about donations as opposed to donating physical things.
Yes. You can have your programs. You can sing and raise funds, and you can transfer the amount, or we can do something there. So I'm waiting for my FCRA permission. That is my foreign once I can take my foreign funding.
Okay.
So once I get that permission, then I will come to the US and I will do my fundraising. Okay. That's my So since boys are in Canada, they want to do something like that in Canada.
So that's amazing. And boys are involved too.
So even volunteer, sitting there, you can volunteer. you can volunteer by helping me do the content writing, do my website, do social media.
Right.
So there are a lot of ways, and just spreading the message of Kavach.
Right.
That is also a very big way of volunteering with us.
Yeah.
So last year during the lockdown, I was working with the Adivasi and the rural, the tribal kids. So I started a buddy system. So my kids from the Ivy schools and the high-end schools, they would mentor one rural kid. So they became great friends. So I was trying to bridge the gap between the rural and the thing.
That's amazing, Bharati. Like a lot of what you do is like, ideas in my mind. So I almost feel like you're a mentor. Like when I look at the things that you're doing, I'm just about starting to do it. Like, and the ideas are coming, like they're bombarding me from nowhere. And I think that's what, destiny is. So things like, mentoring,
let's do our bit. I mean, everybody, let's do our bit. Nobody is asking you to do anything great, but if everybody does their bit, I think the world will be a better place for our girls.
I was watching this recently. Something came up in my feed, and Jane Goodall, right, the famous Jane Goodall, she says, I hear, this is her word, she said, I hear people are going into depression. Everyone is overwhelmed with the world today, blah blah blah, and all that. But she said, instead of trying to save the world, you have to start saving local communities which are near to you, start close to you, that you feel like you can make that impact, and then that will automatically become a wave itself. Right? Don't try to save the world, because that itself is overwhelming, and you can go into depression by that, just like that, thinking of all these things. But start with small things like, how do you do this, how do you do that, this city, next city, or just small counties, things like that. So
let's begin with yourself.
Begin with yourself. Let's talk about that. That seems to be begin with yourself. How does one begin with oneself?
I'm trying to identify your goal. I think if you have a goal, then I don't think there is any problem on you. The problem now is too much of spare time. Everybody has too much of spare time. Imagine people have hours and hours they're wasting on Netflix, on WhatsApp, and everything possible, and still they grumble they don't have time. I'm sorry. That's not true, because you're and another thing is, stop making others rich. Why are you making others rich? Help them. Help the poor become richer, or even help the poor become little more. And I think when you identify a goal for yourself, and you understand yourself, the purpose of your life. I mean, money will come, money will go. Okay, you have abundance, just share it. You don't, and we live in this materialistic world where we are just hoarding things. And honestly, when you realize, I think COVID has taught all of us that life is too uncertain. So live the moment. And what is it that you can live in the moment? Let's make a difference in your own life. Bring a smile first on yourself, on your face, and then try to bring a smile on the other person. Only when your cup is full will you give you can make somebody else's cup full. And the other thing is, when you acceptance is the key to success in life, in every aspect. Accept, yes, there is a problem. Okay, now how do you deal with it? How can you be a part of the problem? You are already a part of the problem, but how can you be a part of the solution? Okay. I came to know that the girls don't have an underwear. I could have blissfully done nothing about it.
Exactly.
I don't need to. But I thought, let's do something. Let's try to help. If it works, fine, but at least the intent should be good. When your intention is good, I think everything.
Somebody recently told me that the world is currently suffering from intention deficit disorder. So for the longest time, people would talk about ADD, attention deficit, but now it's intention deficit disorder. So if you don't have an intention, even when you wake up during the day, you're kind of like lost, right? And then that kind of adds to it.
I think when you have a purpose and a mission and a goal, when you have a goal, you have 24 hours. I don't know what is after 24 hours, or maybe whatever hours I have left, but let's make the best use of it. Every morning I thank God for giving me a life of another day. Now that, oh wow, I have got 24 hours. How am I going to use it to the best of my ability? And believe me, there is so much of joy in giving rather than taking. I find it too much burdensome when I take. I mean, there is always a back of the mind, I have to repay. But when I give, I don't have that.
Exactly the same way. I feel very happy when it's completely true. I think that's going to be the quote of our podcast today. I think there's more joy in giving than receiving, isn't it? Yeah.
So I always believe the joy of giving continues, and let's continue giving. And believe me, I think I'm very selfish, because I get more joy than anybody on this universe, by the work I'm doing.
Yeah.
I think I'm the happiest today.
That's amazing.
I feel
amazing. So when you go to schools, like, do you have a certain number of women who come with you? Because I was watching some of the videos and I saw there are like educators who talk to kids. And where do they all come from? I'm curious.
So I also have a train the trainer program.
Okay.
So I train the trainers. Now I'm going to start the train the trainer program on a very large scale. Okay. Because I realized that I individually or few of us cannot reach. We can reach maybe 1,000. Exactly. But if I train the trainer, then I will have thousands of people, trainers who will train thousands and thousands. It will have a ripple effect.
Right. So and it's like a crowd viral. Yeah.
So I want to start, maybe we will kickstart on this menstrual hygiene day. We'll start our train the trainer programs. We'll start our project for that. So I want to reach out to all the teachers, counselors, parents. They all can join the program and become sexuality educators.
That's just fantastic. So if anyone wants to, be part of this, you can also refer a friend, or if you're in India, if you're in that like Mumbai to start with. I'm sure the movement is going to spread.
Yes,
which is already is. And then can you think about like each and corner of let's start with India. We reach any of these corners. That itself is like just incredible, right? So if you can, so if you refer friends who are referring, who want to do something, this is a great thing that you can do too. So
absolutely,
yeah, that's fantastic, amazing. So a couple of things I learned was you donate. People who are here can donate, so that that can help with you getting your kits to distribute. Then people can refer to become a trainer in the whole movement. And tell us more about, like, you mentioned, I think, that tomorrow you're getting an award for something. So can you tell us about it? And the name itself is very powerful. It's a Jhansi Ki Rani Award. So please tell us what it is about.
Yeah, so this is an award given by two institutions in Maharashtra. They are NGOs, and it is the Jhansi Ki Rani Award I'm getting for the work I'm doing for Kavach. Wow. And it is a way of recognition. And I'm glad that the people, they are recognizing the work I'm doing. And today I launched a program for women in Panchkani. We are starting skill development for them and the underprivileged women, where we are going to teach them how to make blankets and daris, over here. So that it's a tourist place, so they will be able to sell it under the name of Kavach. And they will be empowered. They will be financially dependent. And
that's actually a really good point you brought up about women being financially independent, right?
Yes, it's so important.
I see that in the West too, but let's talk about India, because someone was telling me, no matter how much equality we talk about in a relationship, the hand that writes the check definitely has the upper hand, right? And I think Twinkle Khanna said this, like, she being who she is, I admire the work she does in her own way, but she said this, and it was quite a powerful statement, right? Like, if the hand that writes the check has the upper hand in a household, so for women, and I'm trying to do that from using music, like to be able to have teachers or just regular untrained musicians to train them so that they can start their own singing groups, and then form communities and raise and get paid for it, not just raise but get paid for it, and then whether they want to buy something or help their kids or education or whatever it is. So one way Kavach movement is, you're saying that the tribal women get to make stuff, make blankets and other things and become financially independent, right? That's one of the goals as well. Yeah.
And another thing is, there is a school here in Panchkani that they have started a school for the Adivasi kids. So
Okay,
there
so
are
Adivasi means, for the listeners, tribal kids.
tribal. Yes, absolutely tribal.
Yeah.
So there are around 375 to 400 kids here. So otherwise, I have to go to their villages. But now I'm so happy that she has got all the kids here and they are concentrated here. They stay in a boarding school,
Okay.
and they don't have. English is of course it's a medium of education is English, but they don't know, they are learning how to speak English. So I've decided to start a library for the kids. So I will be starting a book campaign for the children, where we are going to ask everybody to send their books. So I think even if you all can send books from US, I will be very happy to have the books over here.
Okay, so I'm definitely taking notes for that. Sorry, there's so much sun here, it's falling on my face. Okay, so book drive is amazing idea. I will take
3 years and onward. Yes, 3 years and onwards, I want a book, and I'm going to have not one library, but several libraries for the tribals. In that, I will go to their villages also, in the schools also, and this school also. And then the next campaign, which comes next week, is the music instrument campaign.
Okay.
Because they are playing their music during their music class. They don't have any instrument. They are playing on the table, on the utensils, on the buckets, on the stools, and they are really enjoying themselves. But that's not what we want, right? I think in Mumbai, like I would just say about Mumbai, I don't know about the rest of the world, but I remember my own children, they wanted to learn the guitar, they wanted to learn the tabla, they wanted to learn the harmonium, and I've got it at home and they never learned it. So it just lies there. So there are so many hundreds and thousands of such families where they have one musical instrument which is just rusting. So I'm going to request them, can you please send them? My children will learn it, use it and have a band, and they'll have a blast. I mean, music is therapeutic and music is divine. I think it is so good. It's being therapeutic. I think we can, uplift them through music in various ways. Because they are being tribals, they have a lot of behavior issues. So I think music is one medium which will be very therapeutic and which will calm them down. They have anger issues, they have behavior issues, they have addiction issues. I think if they are diverted, into reading books, into playing music, getting into sports. So I'm also going to start a sport campaign where we can get footballs for them, or badminton rackets for them and stuff like that.
That's really amazing. The music thing, I would really be interested, Bharati, so we'll definitely talk about it offline.
Yes.
Because our music school, we have recitals and everything, but we also have recitals for a cause. We don't just go and sing and perform. Every recital that we perform has, an intention, and the intention is also to give back. So the kids are involved. Last week we raised just the children. The parents didn't do much. So the children, they put their activist hats and they raised $9,000 just in 3 hours. By singing and getting all the people to donate, just by telling a story about, we support a rural school in South India called the Rise Foundation.
Yes.
I go there and I've taught there. I teach music, but like you said, music education it's not a luxury, it's a need. It's the most fundamental right for every child to have early music education, because your brain is sort of develops in a way that's affected by music in a positive way. So that's something I would love we should talk about more of that offline. So
sure.
very exciting. So many things.
There's so much to do. I mean, so let's all together. I always believe alone I can't, together we can. Let's do something.
Yeah, I'm so happy. It's just so wonderful to get your positive energy through Zoom itself. It's not, because I can imagine in person how it'll be. So is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we sign off? Because I have so many questions. I think I can do another podcast with you, and in the future, just to kind of track where Kavach is going, because it's a movement like no other. I haven't really seen anything like this.
Yeah, my only message would be, let's all join together. And the top is a very lonely place.
Yeah.
So I think together, let's reach the top together and make a difference in every each one's life. Let's enrich our lives.
Yeah.
I think, we are not doing anything. We are not supporting the people. We are enriching our own selves.
Right.
We are evolving. And I feel it is a duty. We are just helping the Almighty to do His bit, our bit, what He's expecting of us to do.
Yeah.
Because what He's doing is matchless. We can't even compare what He.
And do you sometimes feel like, there's a force within you that's doing this? Like, do you feel like that? Sometimes?
No, for me, I'm honestly telling you, I wear this mala every day. I mean, it's Sri Radhe written here, and I'm a complete Radharani devotee, and I believe it's her mission. It's her. I'm on a job, and I'm just doing my job. The day she tells me, hang your boots, I'm going to hang my boots and go to the Himalayas.
Yeah.
So that's my this thing. I work with complete surrender, and I only believe that it is her project, and I have to do the best for her creation. This is the least I can do for her creation, because what she's doing for her creation is unbelievable, right? So this is my little bit of contribution to her creation.
Oh, wow, I wish I could just come and hug you. So it's the surrender, right? You surrender to
complete surrender.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like I've had a couple of artists on this show, and we talk about surrendering to art, surrendering to music, but this is surrendering to service, right? You're kind of like saying, I'm surrendering, you tell me, I'm just going to do it, and then it just happens. So I don't use my brains. I just use her. I get the intuitions I get, and I work just according to. I get angry sometimes. I want to just shut Kavach, because if I don't have funds, however I go to work, so I just sit in front of her and I tell her, listen, stop giving me ideas. If you want to give me ideas, give me funds. And within an hour, I have some check coming in from somewhere, and this has happened n number of times. That's what I do. That's how I work. Bharati, that's just incredible. Yeah, and that's why I'm tearing up, and that's how it works. That's, you ask for something, you get it, and you do it, right? And with a good intention, it will come.
You give me the work. You give me the way to work. Show me the path. It's your project, your baby. You tell me how to handle it. That's it. I will not go asking. I don't ask anybody for money. Individually, I've never asked a family member or a friend ever to give me money. I will make an appeal for CSR, or I will approach the government, or if somebody hears my story and they give me fund, that's it. But I will never ask. Because I feel, why should I ask? It's her job, no, to ask. She will put the thought into that person's mind, ke Bharati needs the money, you give it to her.
Exactly.
So if the work has to happen, it will happen.
Exactly.
The day it says shut your work, I will shut my work.
This is so powerful, right? It's something like very, very rare. I've never heard of anything like this before. And I feel it too. Like I feel it several times, that similar to what, but this is really inspiring on a whole new level. So
thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much, Bharati, and more power to Kavach, more power to everything that you do, and to all the listeners, please, as you said, Bharati is not going to ask us for anything, so we are going to go and we are gonna support this movement, and just think about all the things we talked about today. From basic needs, so then the next time we feel like we're, including myself, that I don't have this, it's just like a touch of reality to as to what the actual world out there. So and more power to Kavach. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ramya. It was really, I feel so blessed to talk to you today. Thank you.
Oh my God, you're embarrassing me now.
Thank you so much.